The courtroom buzzed with the low hum of anticipation, a familiar rhythm of rustling papers, whispered conversations, and the faint echo of a gavel from a distant chamber. Judge Clara Thompson, perched on the bench in her black robe, surveyed the room with the calm authority of someone who had seen it all. At 58, her silver-streaked hair and steady gaze commanded respect. Today was supposed to be routine, a case like any other in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But as the bailiff called the next case, State of Louisiana versus Michael Carter, Clara's world tilted. The charges were serious: assault, robbery, resisting arrest. Clara's eyes skimmed the file, her heart heavy with the weight of another life caught in the system's gears. But when the defendant shuffled in, shackled and weary, her breath caught. The man before her wasn't a stranger. It was Michael Carter, her Michael, the boy she'd once called her best friend. His face was etched with hardship, his shoulders slumped, but those soulful brown eyes were unmistakable. Memories flooded back, summer evenings racing bikes down oak-lined streets, sneaking ice cream from her family's fridge, promising under a starry sky to always have each other's backs. Clara's grip on the gavel tightened. For the first time in her 20-year career, she hesitated. The courtroom seemed to shrink, the air thick with the weight of the past. Michael glanced up, his expression a flicker of shock before he looked away, head bowed. The room waited. Clara forced herself to speak. "Mr. Carter, you stand accused of assault and robbery. How do you plead?" "Not guilty, Your Honor," Michael rasped, his voice rough but firm. Her heart pounded. She wanted to stop the trial, to demand answers. What had happened to him? How had their paths diverged so drastically? But her role demanded impartiality. "Proceed," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. As the prosecutor, a sharp man named David Reed, launched into his opening statement, Clara's mind drifted to their childhood in Baton Rouge. They'd grown up in a town divided by unspoken rules. Clara's family lived in a tidy ranch-style home with a manicured lawn. Michael's was a weathered shotgun house on the edge of town, surrounded by fields. Their friendship had been a quiet rebellion against the segregation that lingered in the 1970s South. They'd met by chance at a creek, Clara helping untangle Michael's fishing line. That small act sparked years of shared secrets, whispered dreams of escaping to a world that didn't judge them for being together. "Clara," Michael had said one night, lying on the grass under a magnolia tree, "you ever think about leaving? Going somewhere people don't care if we're friends?" She'd laughed, brushing it off. But Michael's eyes were serious, already seeing the world's harsh edges. Their bond held strong until the summer before high school. Clara's father caught them on the porch, his voice icy. "Clara," inside. Now, she'd hesitated, but Michael's quiet, "Go on," broke her heart. Her father banned her from seeing him, and soon after, Michael's family moved away. Clara buried herself in school, eventually climbing to law school and the bench, chasing justice. But she never forgot Michael, the boy who'd shown her what courage meant. Now, as the prosecutor described the alleged Crimea convenience store robbery, where Michael supposedly assaulted a clerk and fled with cash, Clara studied him. His posture was defeated, but his face was unreadable. Did he do it? The prosecution's evidence was damning. Surveillance footage, the clerk's testimony, cash found on Michael. Yet something felt off. The courtroom adjourned for lunch, and Clara retreated to her chambers. Her assistant, Ellen, noticed her distraction. "You okay, Judge Thompson?" Clara waved it off, but she wasn't okay. How could she be when her past sat shackled in her courtroom? The trial resumed, the room packed with reporters and spectators. Reed's voice was clinical. "This is about violence, ladies and gentlemen. A man who attacked an innocent clerk and stole from a small business." Clara's stomach knotted. Michael was more than a docket number. The defense attorney, Sarah Mitchell, young but fierce, countered. "The prosecution wants you to see a simple story, but it's not. Michael Carter is innocent, and we'll prove the evidence doesn't hold up." The first witness, the store clerk, described a man in a red hoodie attacking him. Sarah's cross-examination was sharp. "You didn't see his face clearly, did you?" The clerk faltered. "It was dark." Sarah pressed. "So you can't confirm it was Mr. Carter?" The witness's silence was telling. The surveillance video was grainy, showing a hooded figure grabbing at the counter. Reed claimed it was Michael, but the footage was too blurry to be certain. Sarah introduced an alibi. Michael said he was walking home from a friend's house. The friend wouldn't testify, fearing community backlash, but Sarah argued this didn't disprove Michael's innocence. As the trial wore on, Clara felt the weight of her role. She was supposed to be a pillar of fairness, but every moment reminded her of Michael, the boy who'd once been her world. When the court adjourned, she lingered, watching Michael in shackles. She wanted to ask him what happened, but any contact would taint the case. The defense's turn brought a pivotal moment. Sarah called the arresting officer, John Tate. "You detained Mr. Carter based on a vague description. Black male, mid-40s, dark clothing," Sarah said. "But the suspect wore a red hoodie. Did you find one?" Tate shifted. "No, he could have ditched it." Sarah's voice sharpened. "Did you search for it?" Tate's silence was damning. A forensic analyst testified next, noting the video's timestamp was altered, casting doubt on its reliability. The jury stirred, uncertainty spreading. Then Michael took the stand. His voice was quiet but raw. "I've made mistakes, trusted the wrong people. But I didn't do this. I was walking home when they stopped me. They didn't ask questions, just decided I was guilty." His words hit Clara like a wave. "I'm tired of fighting to be seen as more than what people assume." The courtroom was silent, Michael's plea hanging in the air. Clara glanced at the jury, their faces a mix of doubt and empathy. This wasn't just about evidence, it was about humanity. On the final day, closing arguments were delivered. Reed leaned on the evidence, urging trust in the system. Sarah pleaded for the jury to see the holes in the case and the man behind the charges. Clara listened, her face impassive but her mind racing. The jury deliberated for hours. Michael sat quietly, hands clasped. He hadn't looked at Clara since day one. Finally, the verdict came. The foreperson's voice trembled. "We find the defendant not guilty." The room erupted gasps, murmurs, cheers. Clara tapped her gavel, restoring order. "Mr. Carter, you are free to go," she said, her voice steady. But inside, she was unraveling. As the courtroom cleared, Michael approached the bench. The room was nearly empty, just a few clerks tidying up. "You don't owe me anything," he said softly. "But why didn't you say you knew me?" Clara's throat tightened. "I had to be fair, Michael. If I'd spoken, it could have ruined your case." He studied her, hurt and understanding in his eyes. "Fair? The world's never been fair to people like me." She nodded, guilt-heavy. "I wish I'd done more back then. I wish I could have now." Michael sighed, his posture easing. "We were kids. But you see it now, don't you?" "I do," Clara said firmly. "I'm sorry." He gave a faint nod and walked out, his back straight. Clara sat alone in the empty courtroom, Michael's words echoing. She'd upheld the law, but the trial exposed a deeper truth. Justice wasn't just verdicts, it was about lives shaped by systems bigger than any one person. As she left, the setting sun cast shadows across the courthouse steps. Clara vowed to use her position not just to judge, but to push for change. She couldn't undo the past, but she'd fight for a fairer future for Michael, for herself, for everyone. What did you think of Clara and Michael's story? How do you view the role of violence and injustice in shaping lives like Michael's? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective and what you'd do in Clara's shoes. Let's start a conversation about justice and fairness today.